A very good evening and welcome to this edition of The Frontline. My name is Charles Mwangu Shampagi, and tonight on The Frontline, we discuss, they have hit the road early. How far can they go? How will this impact the result of the 2026 elections? Will they stay the course? All of them, I mean. What about the ones who are still missing out, who are missing in action? Where the leaders of other political parties, the Democratic Party, the Uganda People's Congress, the Forum for Democratic Change, the PFF, PPP, JEMA, and the others, where are they? The Alliance for National Transformation, are they also hitting the road early? Does the law protect those who are out in the field? Does it question what the incumbent is doing and how he's doing it? Is this actually campaigning or mobilizing for other reasons? We'll be asking questions around all those issues. Also asking the question, electoral and constitutional reforms haven't been tabled yet. We have information that we might have some movement beginning early next week on constitutional and electoral reform proposals. How far can they go? How can they impact the next election, or will they at all? Candidates have already been in the field campaigning. We'll also be watching what's happening in Kisoro. By-elections for the woman member of parliament for Kisoro district have been going on. There were allegations earlier today, as you must have seen in our coverage throughout the day. Allegations of ballot stuffing, some malpractices, who's coming out, early results. What are they saying? The Americans do exit polls. We don't do exit polls. We wait until the polling stations close and early results begin coming through. But we expect that before we end this show, the Electoral Commission will announce who the winner is. But if you're very interested in that by-election in Kisoro, we're covering it minute by minute on the Afro Mobile app. So if you turn on your Afro Mobile, you should be able to follow what's going on in the Kisoro district of by-elections for women member of parliament. We'll, of course, bring you the news when the announcement is finally made and a new woman member of parliament is announced or declared by the Electoral Commission for that constituency. To discuss with me tonight on the front line, I have, let me start from close very here. The Honorable Ibrahim Semujunganda is a member of a new political party emerging called PFF. He's formerly from the Forum for Democratic Change. He heads finance, Shadow Minister for Finance in Parliament. He's a former journalist. And he's been in the news earlier today, especially on social media, over some note he's received from a gentleman who's normally playing his politics quietly in the shadows, General Salim Saleh. Maybe he'll tell us a little bit about that. I have also seen some longer document, but over his comments on various programs on different media houses. You know, Bosemujunganda, very nice to have you.
Thank
on
you,
the front
Charles,
line.
and good evening to viewers and those who are watching.
I have with me returning from Butambala district. Yes, Aisha Kabanda from the National Unity Platform. Very nice to have you.
It's a pleasure. Good evening, viewers. It's nice being here, Riz.
From the National Resistance Movement Secretariat, Director Finance, Hajat Medina Ojale. Medina or Medina? Medina. Medina. Very nice to have you.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
I am told you have emptied the secretariat. Everybody is in Kisoro following the elections. You've deployed everyone you have in Kisoro to make sure that you turn out a result. From where you sit, how are things shaping up there?
Are the secretary?
No. In Kisoro. We'll come to the secretariat at some stage.
As far as I'm concerned, the race in Kisoro was NRM versus NRM. So it was Akifeza Grace, independent but NRM leaning, and Honorable Rose Kabajin. So may the best candidate win. From what I was seeing, all the other political parties were invisible as far as our mobilization on ground or as far as the voters in Kisoro were concerned. Kisoro has always been an NRM district, and that has been demonstrated in the recent campaigns that the two strong contenders were all members of the NRM party.
Okay. Aisha, you have a candidate in that election. How are things going from where you...
Yes, we do have a candidate, and we would like to congratulate her upon coming out and present herself to the electorate. We knew the results before even they were announced. You saw what happened. You saw the broad day rigging. The military issues laughing, but these were on video. At least people are able to bring out the evidence. Broad day rigging, pre-ticked votes in the public, being guarded by police and the military officers. So many times we can pre-tell the evidence, but our role is to be there, educate the masses, okay? Tell them to fight for their space. It is our civic right to fight for that space, and we shall always do until we wear the victor's crown.
You say you knew the results even before they announced. So could you give us an insight on what the results might look like?
She's just said it was NRM against NRM. I have just seen like the person whose votes were being pre-ticked in her favor is like is winning. That's what I've
You don't have the numbers to overwhelm her?
But even if you had them, would they give you space? Would they give you space? What it's apparent is that the NRM is not willing to lose any by-election. Okay? They do everything that it takes. They will deploy every government resource, all the soldiers, all the vehicles, all the monies to win a by-election. They've always done. Okay? From the lessons that we had earlier, we were able to tell. Okay? But we are saying we are not going to give space. We shall not relent. We shall keep on. We are not going to sit like crying babies. We shall keep on to fight for our civic right until we have it. You know, rights are not given.
You've been able to pick up some by-elections in previous by-elections. You've been able to pick up some representation. What happened in those?
What's apparent is that as the President Museveni ages, his tolerance to the opposition reduces. Okay, his tolerance to giving space to divergent views, to people who oppose him, reduces. I don't know whether the opposition has won any by-election around this time. I don't remember. Honorable Samuji might remind me. Around this time, not a single opposition seat has been won in a by-election. And that one, we were not very blind to that fact. But we are saying we are not going to fold our arms and look on. You know, the more the opposition has been going to the people and speak to these things, the more people have been awakened, okay? The civic competence of our people is improving. There are many that did not see things the way we are seeing them. Earlier, when Kanokiza Besigye started, I think the western region was a no-go area for the opposition. No one would think that the opposition would go to Kisoro, and you are welcomed overwhelmingly like Bobi Wine was welcomed, okay? It's been a very difficult thing. So reaching where we are, it's been a long journey that's been played by our predecessors, and we are adding on to it block by block.
The Honorable Semujunganda, do you have a candidate in Kisoro?
First of all, let me help people understand Kisoro. I think in my view, even without rigging, the NRM will still win in Kisoro, even without rigging.
Why is that so?
I have been in Kisoro once. I have told that story here. We have a guy who has worked at our place for more than 35 years. So we made a decision as a family of Wajari Nganda to go and visit him in Bunagana at the border. And I led the team. The police at Bunagana, reinforced by police from Kisoro, raided his home. And the question they were asking, they actually found me cooking because I'm a very good cook. They found me cooking. They said, why did Semuju visit you without informing the authority? A private visit of a person who has worked at home for 35 years. And the police came to ask. They chased everybody. It was chaos. I called
actually imagining that They organized a parade for you to receive it.
So Kisoro is one of those areas because it is a hard to reach district because of the nature. One of those areas that not very different from Karamoja. The NRM will not allow you to do any political activity in Kisoro. In fact, the only reason now they allow the parties, we are the person who are standing as independent associated with us because we haven't registered the party. It's because first they knew they will win, but two, the cameras are there. It is only during a by-election like this that they will allow you to access. So I have told you a private visit to go and thank a person who has worked at our home in our village for 35 years ended up with the police raiding his home with the guns, with the patrols. And after about an hour, we said we need to leave because
They had become an inconvenience.
we had ourselves become a nuisance. The whole village was collecting to see which people had visited. Just a private visit. So MPs there, in my view, they are nearly appointed the same way it happens in Karamoja. So you go in knowing, but you should also accept that you may not have the same support and following in all the areas in Uganda. And I think maybe because of its geographical nature, we have not done enough work in that area. Even in the past, actually, we've made some strides. In the past, even to raise a candidate was very difficult. People did not have courage to contest against NRM. So they made everything look like a government. But now that there can be, as the numbers I have seen of opposition candidates, maybe Kisoro will in the future also change. Aisha was speaking about Western Uganda. In 1996, Dr. Paul Semwogerere was stoned. People were wondering why, who are you to come and contest here against Museveni? But now he has to do the same rigging he does everywhere to win. In some parts, some parts he wins, some parts he has to rig. So this particular by-election is one that NRM would win. But NRM, even what they can easily win, they will cheat. That's how they cheat their own elections and shoot at each other. Even internal elections. You've seen them shooting at each other in pure NRM. So
I say they are smiling
they are so bad-mannered that even when they are contesting against each other, they will shoot at each other. They will cheat.
What do you expect when you sound as resigned as you are, both yourself and the Honorable Aisha Kabanda, on the fate, on what you can get out of an election?
No, I have said Kisoro. The earlier by-elections during this term, they just cheated everybody. So I was in Soroti when they were cheating our turn. I have spoken to some NRM leaders. The cheating that happened in Kayunga is one that they had never seen.
It was unprecedented.
You remember Museveni himself ordering the arrest of people in the Speaker's district, Bukedea. Because in Bukedea, elections ended before it had started by 6. Because the election was supposed to start at 7. But by 6 they had voted and the boxes were full. And these things were said by Museveni. He said they were done by UPC. So here, cheating and NRM are the same, are synonymous.
We will be exploring the journey.
It is not that we are resigning. We are telling you the reality.
Okay.
Charles, I think it's unfair for us to make allegations which cannot be substantiated. My sister, Honorable Aisha, says NRM was rigging in broad daylight. Kisoro is one of the strong NRM districts in terms of support that they give to the party. In the last elections, we got over 90% in all elective positions. I can tell you today that these results that will come out, all the opposition parties, if we put them, clamp them together, they will not even get 10%. So that tells you that we cannot rig in a district that NRM is already strong. I told you earlier that the
the
contest is actually NRM versus NRM. Honorable Akifeza was in the primaries. Honorable Grace participated in the primaries, and you all witnessed and you saw. Nobody was talking about Noob. My sister says Honorable Robert Chagulanyi was well received. I think what happens that we've always told these people that when Honorable Robert Chagulanyi always goes up country, people come to see Bobi Wine the musician. Because how comes the numbers that you are telling us do not translate into votes? People always come to see the musician. So Kisoro is purely NRM, and I don't think anybody can
do you want to comment on
contest
the
that.
video?
Can I introduce?
I came across a video. If that video she's talking about is what I saw earlier,
At a polling
and it
station.
was clarified, actually people were speaking Luganda. The Kisoro I know, much of the people do not speak Luganda. And people are speaking Luganda, the background
spoke
was
all
Luganda,
languages, spoke
and
Swahili,
I want my sister to come up with evidence, pinning NRM rigging in Kisoro, and I will give her a gift. But as far as I'm concerned, nothing of that nature happened, and those are always their excuses when they know they are.
But you see, the excuses.
Yes.
Can I introduce the Honorable Barnabas
They are not
Tinka Sime?
localized. Museveni has spoken about. He has not even spoken, but he has arrested people.
Honorable Semoju, can I introduce the
Manda
Honorable
without Museveni.
Barnabas Tinka Simire?
So you are not aware that
You're
he
most
arrested
welcome to the
people
show.
for Bukedia election.
Thank you very much,
Not for
Charles.
rigging.
To our viewers and my colleagues on the panel, I was held up in Jamais, had some engagement throughout the day because tomorrow the president is going to be in our area. So we are really preparing for him. And I found you talking about Kisoro and my good friend, the Kira municipality MP. Sometimes people think he's the only MP in parliament, but we love him.
You are
But
struggling
where
to
we-
catch up.
Where we disagree is he's very sensational sometimes. He tells a number of times some truth conveniently to win an argument. But my point that I want to make is in Kisoro, as my colleague from the NRM Secretariat said, Kisoro is purely NRM. And what you see is a continued contest within the party to show that internally there is some democracy. Of course, we have to battle with the issues of discipline inside there, because ordinarily we should not even be having a candidate running against our flag bearer. But the job of a member of parliament has become highly competitive to a level that some people do not want to hear that they are not on the ballot paper. They think being on the ballot paper, they are increasing their chances of going to the House, whether they have a contribution to make or not. And but to say in Kisoro that we have other parties or we are rigging against other parties, that's not true. Those who went to campaign for their respective candidates, like my very good friend Robert Chagulanyi, he just went for a good tour, and it is acceptable. It's acceptable that he can enjoy the ambience of the hills in that place. It's a very good tourist place. Then return and try to look at his cards. Indeed, that my card cannot fit in Kisoro. We can continue talking about the contest in Uganda. There are few things that are holding NRM, but I think in 2026 we are going for a showdown.
A showdown.
Yes.
You said the president and your party chairman is in your district tomorrow.
Yes.
What is he there to do? Has he started early campaigns, or some people have said?
People may think he's in an early campaign, but you remember he has a responsibility to transform this country. He has a mandate of the people for 5 years, and he must deliver on the manifesto. So whether he's in Kampala, he can still deliver, but he has to go and interact with the masses. I have sent parish development model basically for the ordinary person. Is the money reaching? He will interact with the ordinary persons. He has gone to Bokedi. The other day he was of course in Kisoro. Now it is he's going to be in Bunyoro and find out whether these things are working. And to me, that's very, very important. And the other issue that he has had a theory of transforming the ordinary person. He thinks using the model of 4 acres. 4 acres would easily transform this country. And the people that he has worked with, particularly to foster that agenda, many of them have not grasped his perspective. And it is very, very important as he journeys into the real transformation of the ordinary person to have many more soldiers on his side who actually understand what he wants.
38 years down the road, you've been in parliament for quite some time yourself. Do you see that transformation happening on the ground? And if not, what has held it back? If it's working, how effectively is it working?
To say that there is no transformation taking place on the ground is not being honest. There is some transformation taking place on the ground, but not at the pace that we want. We would have loved to see the Korean style, but the Korean style took place in a different environment. This Uganda is also a totally different environment, particularly the people of Uganda. I was privileged to be in South Korea. South Korea, the people are highly disciplined. Every village has a bell which is rung at 5. And all people wake up to go and do drills, which take them 1 hour. 6 they assemble, whether they are 2 or 1, at their respective houses. They assemble and sing their respective national anthems. National anthem, make prayer, go for breakfast, and go to work. Retire for break tea at 11, return to work at 1, come for lunch, return to work at 4, 5 they go for evening tea, and return for dinner and to sleep. I was privileged to at least visit most of the ordinary people who are engaged.
South Korea or DPRK, North Korea?
South Korea. I'm talking of South Korea. I was privileged to visit most farmers in the 3 months that I was there. At least I visited around 2,300 farmers. These ordinary people who are using less than an acre, who are using a quarter an acre, who are using 50 by 100 those small gardens, and they were making a very big fortune. So what I saw was a total discipline, which I think lacks here, and what we call high level of mindset change. People understood their problem and decided to say that, no, we must work. But here people are waiting for President Museveni to come and deliver parish development model, to come and deliver Emioga, to come and deliver cows, tractors. Yeah? The people in Kampala, they are waiting for handouts for some sort to start doing things.
The many people who are looking at the president's tours, and they're saying, no, he's done what he's always done. Get a year before the actual election, begin tours across the country, basically to mobilize for the next election. If you're talking about what you're saying, many people say, why is a Barnabas Tinkasimire, a member of the National Resistance Movement, not explaining PDM effectively to his people in the constituency? Why is Hajat Medina, Director for Finance at the NRM Secretariat, and the entire Secretariat, not doing the work of political mobilization? Why are public servants who are paid to manage and implement these projects doing that?
But you see, Charles, the president called the NRM MPs and he told them he has had several meetings. The latest ones were on coffee. But he called a specific meeting to tell them it is time. Please mark my word. It is time to go to people. I am not sure Tinkasimire attended that meeting.
No, he didn't. Say
Where
that.
is that?
That's not
the
true.
one that took place in Chisozi, because I was there.
That's
No,
not true.
the one of Jesus was a coffee.
Uh-huh.
In the last parliament, Mr. Museveni presented through his technical staff a supplementary budget of about 46 billion to go for the same tours promoting Operation Wealth Creation. Tinkasimire, you are an intelligent man. If for all the years you are preaching something and it's only you who understands it, you must know there is a problem. That time, you remember the tours, he would meet councillors, meet everybody, he gives them money. The councillors for Wakiso and Kampala, he met them in Rugogo. And each was given 300,000, including opposition councillors. Once they heard there was money, they also went. So every program you bring, you are the only one who understands it until it fails, and then you rename it and go on the same tours. Really, you don't have to be intelligent to know that Museveni is campaigning. The last election, after going around giving money, because I have told you he came to demand for supplementary budget of 46 and you're in parliament and you know it. After that, of course, the Almighty sent COVID and Museveni celebrated. He had finished his campaign. Then he said, no campaign, now use radio, now use what? I can tell you, when he is done with this sort of campaign, you wait. When the real campaign starts, Museveni will announce M-Pox. He will say no gathering, you know what? Everybody will go on radio. So these particular tours have nothing to do with transformation. Because if you have a 5-year term, you've done almost 3.5 years. Is that the time to go and preach?
Yes.
Because you should begin. That program should have started day one. Say that now you go for assessment. But Tinkasimire has told you he wants
Is
people.
that the only thing
He wants people. He wants people to understand.
A question someone will ask: is that the only thing he has to do as a president? He has so many other things to do.
Did he have to do it at all? Go in the budget. What is in the budget? You have a budget of 72 trillion. The sector of agriculture has about 1.5, if I'm not mistaken. And then he will tell you that everything about agriculture, these MPs who distribute seedlings and seeds, they were complaining and he said, no, now the seeds have gone to the farmers through PDM. So you mean where seeds have gone to farmers through PDM, Museveni is going there to teach them how to plant? Tinkasimire. That's what Museveni is coming to do to your constituency.
No.
Because that is his
Just hold it.
that is his biggest contribution. He says now.
Just hold it a moment. Let's give this show some context.
Charles.
Hajat, before I come back to you,
Yes.
let me first go to your colleague Aisha Kabanda. Your president is also doing tours across the country. What is he mobilizing for? What is he promoting?
Okay, before I go to that, there's something I'd like to respond to. President Museveni and the whole of his NRM, they have a way that they want to depict their opponents. When they go out and campaign, it's like they don't have anything sensible to tell people. Now, when Bobi Wine goes out, he's gone as an artist, and people are coming to see him as an artist. Okay, not because they like him as a politician. And I'm like, how I wish they would give him an opportunity to go as an artist. Then they would see what he's capable of doing. I would like to inform Honorable Barnabas and his colleague that in 1980, when President Museveni went to campaign, people would go to see him as a joker, by the way. They wanted to look at, some of them were calling him some Mnyarwanda, some young man with a funny English accent, and that would attract people who would like to go and see him, okay? But as he went there, some people believed in him. Unlike President Museveni, for some time, Bobi Wine had music that was speaking to the nerve of the people's calling. Things that people thought they were very, very important to them. They can dismiss him as they wish, but he gave them a run for their money in the last elections, to the extent that President Museveni had to come out and say that he rigged his elections. You recall in 2006, and you know President Museveni has a lot of ego. He doesn't want to accept challenge. 2006, when President Museveni lost a big part of Uganda to DP, and in Kampala particularly, he said DP cheated him. Even the last elections, he said NRM, NUP, cheated him, okay? I want to tell them that they can dismiss Bobi Wine as they wish, okay? But NRM rigging is become part of their DNA. Even where there is no opposition, I want to tell you, he has told you, even where there is no opposition, where you think there's no opposition, they will critique for people. We have testimonies of people who said in the previous elections, not only the previous one, but even the elections that happened before, that they would go to elect and they find when people had already voted for them. By 10 o'clock, you'd find that in many polling stations in Ankwale sub-region, you'd find that everybody has voted, okay? So rigging is part of the DNA of NRM now, that even where no one is opposing them, Honorable Semuju rightly said it, you see how the NRM primaries are so full of vote rigging. They fight each other, they borrow stuff, they bribe, they do everything. So the point I'm dismissing, number one, is for them to say that because in Kisoro everyone was NRM, there's no rigging. I want to say that the ego of President Museveni actually, and the NRM, they feel very bad finding a percentage of NRM votes from the opposition, however minute they could be, okay? Why they stuff boxes, even when they know they will win, is because they want to make the opposition votes so negligible that you cannot argue that you have numbers there, okay?
I and Honorable Semuju work in the media, and we know what it means if focus is on one person, especially in this case, your opponent. I did ask about your candidates, your party presidents on mobilization tours. What exactly is he doing?
But do you know how many times we have attempted to go to the field and we've been stopped?
You are in the field now?
Yes,
You've been moving?
we are in the field now.
You haven't been stopped yet?
We are in the field now, and this is the third attempt. We tried first time, we are stopped middle way. We tried the second time, we are stopped middle way. We now don't know what is going to happen, okay? But if President Museveni is going out and non-registered organizations are here, some groups led by the first son, they all go out, everyone is going out. What do you expect of registered parties whose role is to mobilize, sensitize, educate, and recruit? Okay? I won't be surprised that they'll find a reason at any point in time.
Before they find the reason, Honorable Aisha Kabanda, could you start with the basics? You've unleashed your party president. He's moving the countryside. What is he doing?
The president is mobilizing.
Where is he moving?
No, the president. The first lane of our moving out, we are simply opening up our offices. We are stopped. So as we go, we open up offices where they aren't. We launch our party structures where we have established them. We mobilize people. We recruit for the party, okay? And we sensitize people. It is our mandate as a political party to sensitize people to their civic rights. You remember we've been telling in the previous elections, I said to people, go and register. Please register, nominate. Now around this time, the whole people do not know probably that they're even registering school children. There's a registration campaign that is going on. Many people do not know. So what are we doing? We are within our core mandate as a political party to keep down the people, with the people, to mobilize, to sensitize, to recruit, but only also to cause awareness about things that are going on.
You are preparing for 2026, are you not?
We must be preparing all throughout because we want to take over this government.
Specifically
as
now,
soon
you've
as
designed these particular tours to hit the road early. You're learning from your main opponent, President Yoweri Museveni. You're also hitting the road early, are you?
We are not hitting the road early. We're actually late. I've told you we've tried severally and we've been stopped. We are late. So many things on our calendar should have been done earlier. We didn't do them. Okay? We are supposed to be in the field to tell people to keep the government in check. For everything, every action that government does, we're supposed to keep government in check. Sensitize people, tell them how good or bad the policies are and what would be the alternative. And that's what we are doing. So we are within our core mandate as a political party to sensitize the public, okay, about what this government that took over their power forcefully, what they are doing with their power. That's what we are doing.
So you haven't talked about your candidates.
When you go to market your candidates, you even align them. You align them, you show them to the people, but there's nothing wrong to tell people that we can do things better. Okay? What Museveni has done wrong, we could have done it differently. There's nothing wrong with that, and we are doing that.
Do you see yourselves
There's nothing wrong telling people that this government is so corrupt. They've stolen every penny. They've misappropriated their funds. They've made the wrong decisions.
Do you see yourselves as NUP fielding a different candidate apart from Bobi Wine in 2026?
Why not? We're a political party that has structures. We're a political party that has structures. Which structure will sit in the right time and choose candidates. If some other person comes and competes and offers himself and the party structure is the person, then we shall have that candidate. So as of now, actually, we don't have a candidate for 2026.
Hajat Medina, you've been itching to come in.
Yes, I think let me start with the rigging allegations. Instead, we are rigged by the opposition. In Honorable Semuju's Chira in 2021, all the president's agents were chased by the opposition. But again, you ask them, how would we have Honorable Semujunganda, MP of Chira municipality? Why would we have him? Why would we have Honorable Aisha from the PL, what is the party? And then we also have Honorable Semuju from the FDC. Why would we have them winning if there was rigging? They keep throwing these stories, but they are the very people who actually
How did Museveni win, yet he said he was rigged?
But how do you win if we rig? How do you win?
Museveni said he was
from
rigged.
the opposition. But Charles, let me go to the main issues.
You're asking questions,
Let
then
me
you
go to
receive
the
the
issues.
answers. In December 1980,
Let me go to the issues.
DP,
You had your time.
DP registered 67.
Charles?
I mean, I think they had 67 MPs. UPC had about 70 something. But Museveni went to Wero to fight.
UPM had one.
It is not that all the seats in Uganda were won by UPC. And rigging doesn't mean that you rig everywhere.
For us, we have evidence that we were rigged by the opposition. In fact, in the last election, they did. And we have evidence. Two, Charles, you asked a question whether the president,
Could you please let her make a
whether
point?
the wealth creation, those tours is making, whether there's any progress. The president has, this is not the first time he's touring the
argument,
country.
Madam Medina, is that the accusation is that they are disguised campaigns by the president.
Not at all. And that's what I'm explaining now, that this is not the first time that the president is touring the country. I remember, if I remember well, because I was young, either in the early 90s, the president did a tour and raising awareness about the scourge of HIV/AIDS. The president, I have seen several times moving, touring this country, talking about wealth creation, talking about, you remember the Bonaba Gagawale, the Progress for All. I remember the president in all, throughout his term of campaigns, he has been moving around, talking to Ugandans, interacting with the people. But again, the issue is this. In 2021, we, the NRM, came up with a manifesto, which we sold to Ugandans, we marketed, and Ugandans bought our manifesto, and we are voted into power. So one of the key things that came out of that manifesto was the parish development model, which the implementation actually started by 2023. That's when much of the money was sent out to parishes across the country. As I speak, out of over 10,700 parishes in Uganda, money has been sent to over 10,500 parishes. About 100 and something, less than 200 parishes haven't received that money. So what is the president doing? One is to go to his people, interact with them, find out whether actually what is being told is what is happening on the ground. And I think there's nothing wrong with the president doing that. But also from the recent visits, we've seen that there are stories, there are progress, success stories that are coming out. Recently in Bukedi, I was watching in Chibuku, where the president visited a farmer, one Florence, I've forgotten the other name, a lady called Florence, who received 1 million from the PDM. She went and bought 2 sows and a boa. Sows are female pigs. My brother Semuju will forgive me, but I'm also an agriculturist, so it's okay to have those names given in a way that people understand. So she bought 2 pigs and a male, 2 female pigs and a male pig. Now, out of that, she was able to get 10 piglets. She sold the 10 piglets. She sold the 6 and at 100,000 each and got 600,000. The 600,000, she bought some supplements for the remaining pigs, the 6, the 3 piglets and the 2 female mother pigs and the boa. And the balance, she bought turkeys. And at the point the president visited her, she already had 34 adult turkeys, and she had already, again, another batch of 10 pigs. So when we looked at the Chibalo, or the mathematics, she was destined to earn between 1 million to 1.2 million per month, 6 months from now. That is one. Another example was a prominent farmer from...
That's money from PDM?
Yes, from PDM. From PDM.
So,
yes, and she received the money in 2023. It is over a year ago. So what I'm telling you is that the president wants to interact with these people, but also be able to establish whether what he's being told is what is happening. Remember, one of the key things we also highlighted in our manifesto was elimination of corruption, and the president has come hard on it. And we've seen recently, again on this very program, very many parish chiefs that have been either paraded before courts of law or others dismissed. And so for me, I don't think the president is in an early campaign. Honorable, all of you here, your members of parliament except me, I don't think there's any problem with any of you going to your constituency, visiting your people, finding out what you promised them, whether what you promised them is what you are doing, or actually finding out their challenges. So I think the president is in order to do that. Except for the opposition. Except for the opposition.
Is it possible to draw a line between when the president is doing his presidential work or when he is doing work as a candidate, expecting to be on the ballot in 2026?
We know that there's always a specific period within which every person who offers himself or herself for any elective office is supposed to be on the ground campaigning. Certainly, this is not the time. The National Electoral Commission, according to their roadmap, within the period now that the president is in the field is not actually one of those that has been marked out as an electoral period. And like I said, I wouldn't see any problem with Honorable Semujunganda going to Chira, interacting with his people. I saw one Musisi who says he wants to challenge him. I don't think he should come up and say, why is the Honorable Semuju doing that? I think it is in order for any leader to do that. And most importantly, I think for the person of the president, it is very important to Ugandans to see that the person they voted for is near them, but also is following through what he promised to them.
Let's take a break and pick up this conversation in a moment.